Hi, Brian, live from the Lockdown Lounge. Welcome to Tuesday night in Melbourne. And it's friggin' cold, but that's okay. You know what we're going to do? We're going to warm you up with our guest because he is so hot right now. Yes, I said that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are brought to you by the amazing people at Cranbourne Music. And did you know the whole time that this pandemic catastrophe thing has been going on, they have been open, they have been servicing the music industry and will continue to do forever, as far as I'm concerned. You can jump online, you can click and collect, or you can get it delivered. I suggest you go into the store. They're at Limbrook and Elizabeth Street City. So thanks for joining us tonight. We have got a great guest tonight. Like I said, so hot right now. Going to warm up your cockles on a Tuesday night. Does anyone actually say cockles anymore? I don't know. Well, I said cockles. I'm going to look it up after the show just to make sure I haven't said something that's completely wrong. But actually, if I did that for every show, I'd be spending my whole evenings looking up stuff. Anyway, I've digressed. So we've got chat, we've got music, we've got Gig Chicken, we've got Coping with Lockdown, we've got Back When I Thought I Was Cool, and a very, very good entry from our guest tonight. But we always start off with Pets Are Good for Ratings, ladies and gentlemen. And basically, if you have a pet and put some music behind it, then I guess you've got some kind of relationship with a music show. That's, you know, the tenuous link that we try and grab there. So here's a dog singing the blues while a guy plays the harp. Roll the video.
Yeah, I got those kick and blues. I feel like a hound. I feel like a hound.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, whatever we do, whatever we can just to make you smile. If you're not smiling, well, there's still time. There's still time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our guest this evening, we're going to read the rap sheet, okay? So we like to build this up. He's a guitarist, singer from Melbourne. He's been playing professionally since 2001. 19 years he's been playing professionally. Woo. He's been touring nationally, session work, corporate covers, weddings, events, tributes. He was in Bjorn Again and the Foo Fighters. Massive bands, massive bands. So straight out of Music University in 2004, he was signed, okay, I'm going to say this slowly, he was signed to Sony Music with Melbourne band The Sparrows. He's going to be good, right? Yeah. Now, this is his quote. The band went nowhere, but hey, it was fun. I like him already. Along the way, he's raised two beautiful sons, Paddy and Spencer, with his wife, Jessica, and recently became a qualified commercial pilot. Who does that? How many rock stars do you know that are commercial pilots? I only know, like, John Travolta, and yeah, probably in the same, well, let's not put him in exactly the same category, but yeah, elevated category. Current music projects include, well, his main act, which is Super Band, a six-piece corporate act that also performs a Billy Joel and Elton Joel tribute called The Piano Men and an ABBA tribute called Super Trooper. His weekly live stream from Facebook, Dylan Boyd Music. Oops, I just gave away who it is. His Wednesday Hump Day virtual gig live every Wednesday night. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to introduce, so hot right now, Dylan Boyd. G'day, Dylan. How you doing, man?
Hey, Brian. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on the show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome.
Hey, I do the welcomes.
I can't believe you said cockles. I think the last time I heard the word cockles was when I was, I don't know, maybe it was Dennis Leary. He had that in a song at one point, didn't he? Wasn't it?
Yeah, look, possibly. It's probably
from the
showing
cockles of our hearts.
Yes, well, it's probably showing my age, but hey, but look, I need to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about everything. But, when you were strategizing about your professional career, you would have thought, okay, music industry, I'm going to make money out of this. I'm pretty good. I'm going to make a living. But hey, backup, safety net, aviation industry, those two industries will never fall down at the same time. Holy crap. Holy crap. So...
originally the plan was to be a pilot. I mean, I grew up, always with that as the goal. And then as, you get into your teens, you start playing a bit of guitar and doing a bit of singing. And I had that real kind of eureka moment towards sort of halfway through year 12, I think. And I thought, you know what? I can always come back to flying at some point in my life. I can't always be sort of, we all know that when you've got pipe dreams of being a recording artist and everything, obviously age is a factor. Yeah. So I thought, you know what, I'll put that on the back burner for now, and we'll go to, I was already playing in bands and whatnot throughout like year 11 and year 12, and then I thought, you know what, I'll go to uni, I'll do a bit of music at uni, sort of hone the craft and see what comes of it. And it was at a gig at the Espy that I was playing with an original band at the time, that's where I met some of the guys from the band that you mentioned before, the Sparrows, and back then they were called the Avenue. They were looking to sort of rebrand and relaunch and add a member because they were a trio. And the singer came up to me and he said, "Man, love your stuff. Let's come and have a jam. Let's see what comes of it." And it all kind of evolved from there.
Fantastic. Well, hey, before we go on, there's a thing that we do called the musical challenge, where I throw musical challenges through to you throughout the night. Apart from the 2 songs that you do in completion, basically, I'm just going to throw some songs at you. And I need, even though you've already signed a contract in blood that you've agreed to do this, I need to ask you, just for the viewer's perspective, that you're actually going to do it. Are you up for it?
Yeah, I'm up for it, of course. What do you got for me? What have you got?
Well, I figured, and I like to find segues. I'm the segue king. And I think, because we're going to touch on the commercial pilot thing again, I think probably the best song to do now would be maybe a bit of Tom Petty, Learning to Fly.
Ah, yes.
You see what I did there?
Well, I started out down a dirty road, and I started out all alone. Just go to the chorus here. I was learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Ain't coming down, learning to fly is the hardest thing.
Ah, so good.
Is that enough?
So good. I'm part of that clap. Maybe, 1/5 of that clap is for me for probably the most brilliant segue that I've been able to do in the whole.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Done this before, haven't you?
Yeah, a few times. So let's talk about the early music years. So always I guess you were keen to get into that original kind of vibe. You were writing, and that's where you got the opportunity with the Sparrows.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it was kind of a chance meeting. The world works in mysterious ways, and that serendipitous encounter at the Esplanade Hotel front bar, doing an original gig with another band, and met up with Michael, who's the singer and the main songwriter from that particular band. Brilliant musician, brilliant songwriter, and
So they poached you. They saw you with another band, and
I guess you'd say that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
is that allowed?
Yeah, it depends. It's complicated. These things are complicated, they always are.
Yeah.
We're complicated people.
We are. How did the other band feel about it?
They were more than happy, to forge forth and do your thing. And actually, the singer of the band that I was in, we've maintained a friendship throughout the years. He was one of the groomsmen at my wedding back in 2013. And
you know what? That warms the cockles of my heart too.
Yes. There's that word again. We're going to use that word a fair bit tonight, I reckon. It's a great word.
Hey, it's my middle name. They call me Brian Cockles Rolt.
Fantastic.
I think that's what they call me.
Well, that's what you think they call you.
Yeah.
Who knows what they actually do? Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was great. We toured. We did a whole bunch of stuff. We recorded an EP with Paul McKercher at Sing Sing, and at the time, I believe the assistant engineer down there was the in-house guy was Jim Marudis. You know, both amazing producers in their own right. So it was really great to work with them, and we recorded to tape and all that kind of stuff. So it was because it was a '60s kind of Brit rock inspired outfit, and it was at the time, you know, you had bands like Jet and Wolfmother and all those kind of real retro-y things. Vulture Street came out, you know, a year or two prior to that. So that whole retro rock sound was very big at the time. And, you know, I guess we kind of surfed in just that little bit too late. And, you know, I ended up leaving the band, and the guys went on to do a few other things. They recorded an album, and then several...
But you were with them when you got the Sony deal, right?
With the Sony deal, yeah, I was there when that all happened, because we were very lucky. The bass player was Tim Wheatley, and his father Glenn was the manager. So we all know that very famous name. And
we do.
Yeah, it was. We were lucky enough to, as I said, we had a really good manager and a really good plan set out. And like all these things, you know, it's all the holes in the Swiss cheese have to align. And unfortunately, there was, for whatever reason, it just goes to show you can have the biggest and best record company in the world backing you. You can have one of the best managers, and, you know, as I said, I felt we had some of the best music around at the time, but for whatever reason it didn't fire, and we all sort of went our own ways, and I went straight into sort of working, you know, trying to concentrate on working with other people, working in covers, and just trying to hone the craft and you know, do as best I could to support my lifestyle, you know.
That moment, and, you know, there'd be so many musos that watch our show, millions and millions all over the world that are watching our show tonight. You've actually achieved something that, you know, we've all strived for, and that signing of a deal with a major record label. Tell us about how you felt at that time. You know, what were you jumping? Were you drinking? Were you warming cockles? What were you doing? That
I'll never forget. Actually, I think it was we were doing a gig somewhere, and the A&R guys came down, and I forget where the gig was. I think it might have even been at the Espy or something like that. And the A&R guys came down, and sort of had a bit of a meeting after that, and that sort of led to another meeting. And then I think we were rehearsing at the time when we got the call from Glenn, and they're like, he's like, yeah, guys, I think you need to come down to the office. There's some things going on, and the contracts were there, and, you know, and then we went up to Sydney and did some pre-production, and we sort of had this official kind of welcoming, and they, you know, pulled out the champagne and all that kind of stuff. Little did we know we were paying for the champagne, really.
Yeah.
But
that's the way they work, isn't it? These contracts. It's like
we went out for dinner, and it was really beautiful, expensive dinner. On, you know, out came the Amex and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing!" And then sure enough, a couple of weeks later, it was on a bill, and I was like, "Okay." Anyway. But that's how it works, and that's fine, you know. So and it was time to do some pre-production after that on the EP, and put some stuff out. Interestingly enough, you know, I think I've seen the amount of sales that we had. If we had those kind of sales today in terms of physical CD sales, we'd probably be number one. Like, you know, you know, I think we sold a few thousand copies of our EP Australia-wide, which, again, back then was not a lot. But today, in today's kind of market, to sell a few thousand copies of your CD at JB Hi-Fi over the course of a couple of weeks, you would probably chart number one, you know, very quickly.
Yeah, it's crazy how things have changed, the evolution of the music industry over that time. And so I guess you're heavily entrenched in the cover scene now, but do you still sort of, in the back of your mind, are you still writing? Are you still sort of, you know, wanting to do any original projects?
Not really, no. It's one of those things where you've really got to, you know, and after the Sparrows, you know, I invested some time and money in some other original projects, and, you know, you really do have to have it, you know, it's got to be 100% your key focus in everything, and
you've got to be prepared to give up cash as well, don't you?
You know, you've got to be willing to spend it and perhaps not make it for a while or whatever.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have different recipes for success and all that sort of stuff. But from my end, I just find that it's always 110% dedication. And if you've got anything else going on in your life, it kind of has to all go on hold. And you know, I've that's one of the things I guess I've struggled with throughout leading into my later 20s was that there were other things that I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to, you know, start a family and all that kind of stuff. And from, you know, it sounds so cliche, but it's true, you know, like,
yeah, no, that's life, man.
Other things become more important, and it's not that you don't want to do those things.
Yeah.
I just know that, you know, pretty much in anything that I've ever tried to do in life, you know, you've got to be 110% dedicated to whatever it is that you want to do.
Yep.
And if it's
And
not there,
clearly,
then it's probably just a waste of time, you know.
Clearly, that's why you've been so successful in everything you've done. I guess at some point with the original music, you just said, you know what, I'm just going to let it be.
Yeah.
And so you should probably play that song.
I was going to say, is that a segue?
That is so much a segue.
Sounds like a good segue.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's a great song, man.
Oh, yeah, one of the best. So, so you've been able to successfully manage family, music, becoming a pilot. Tell me a little bit about the commercial pilot. How many years of study, training, flying to get to your commercial pilot license?
Yeah, well, the journey really started in, I think it was sort of early 2017, and I bumped into a really good old friend of mine, and he asked me to play at his wedding, at his ceremony, and he's a pilot, and we got chatting, and he said to me, you know, what are you up to? And I was like, oh, I'm playing music, you know, I've got all this stuff going on, but I'm, you know, geez, he was telling me about what he was doing with his flying, and I'm like, oh, man, I'd love to do that. And he goes, why don't you? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm, you know, 32 or something like that at the time, 33, a bit past it in terms of aviation years. And he goes, no, mate, if you want to go and be a pilot, go and be a pilot. Go and do it. Why not?
Wow.
And I'm like, ooh, okay. So I looked at it, and, you know,
Had you done any flying or anything like that before?
Yeah, as I said, when I was really young, I started flying when I was 16, and I got what was back then known as a GFPT, a general flying practice test or something like that was what it was called. It's basically a recreational license, and you know, you can go up with passengers and things in your designated training area. And I was about to keep launching on with that, go into private pilot's license, into commercial flying and all that kind of stuff, commercial pilot's license training in university. But then I decided to do music. So I sort of end the story there. Last time I flew was 2004. And then, 18? Yeah, was it 2018? Yeah, halfway through 2018 I started flying. And it was the end of 2019, just so last year. So about a year and a half, little less than a year and a half from sort of ab initio. So starting from this, because you have to start again, really. You can't not fly for nearly 15 years and then expect to remember stuff. So start again. And then, it was about a year and a half of full-time sort of study and training. And whilst, as we were talking about, you know, still gigging and working, and I do a bit of training and assessment for an RTO, sort of part-time, gigs at night, studying, and every spare second I had where the weather was good, go and fly. And then, that's it was about a little less than a year and a half.
Fantastic.
It was. I won't lie. It wasn't easy. It had its moments, but again, when you're dedicated and you really want to, you've got a vision and your mind's eyes cast right into the future, and you know this is something that you want to do, then you make the time. You know? I think it sounds really silly, but I'll never forget watching Arnie. Good old Arnie Schwarzenegger said it once. He's like, I'm going to do a really bad impersonation here, but he's like, I don't like hearing people say they don't have time. You know, if you want something, you will make the time. You know, it was some kind of motivational speech he was giving, and it's like
That was a pretty damn good impression, I must say.
I didn't really give it all, but I gave it some. So things like that really resonate with me, where it's like, you know, you're absolutely right. You know, this is something that I want, and you know, I don't care that I'm tired or whatever, or feel like I'm overextending myself, you just make the time, and you very quickly realise where you're wasting time.
Yeah.
So it's
because
like
you've become more efficient.
Yeah, you do. Time management is really, really important, and that in itself is what being a pilot's all about as well.
Yep.
It's preparation and execution. They go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
Yep.
Otherwise, you. So
yeah, which is not good. Apparently, I've read that whole. But what a great example for your kids as well. Setting goals, chasing after that, completing it. And I'm a dad too. It's such an important. Your kids are always watching you, and it's really important to follow
really
through, isn't it?
You got to be careful. They are watching. So yeah, no, but it was to let me tell you though. Once you sort of get to the end of that, it's still not the end though. Basically, once you finish the training, you're given a license which allows you to now go and train even more. It's like when you finish, when I did the same thing when I finished my degree in music. You sort of, okay, you've got this bunch of skills now. We've taught you how to do it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's game over and you're going to, start making money and all that kind of stuff. It's now you've got what you need to go forward and get better, and, and start the networking process. And the aviation industry is so like the music industry. It's not funny. It's a networking game. It's a niche kind of. You got to find your funk with a bunch of people to kind of get in there, and it's not good enough to just be good. You've also got to have that personality that allows you to engage with people and sort of make friends and enter an industry that is, I kid you not, it's similar to the music industry. It's kind of a big boys club, and I mean that with all respect. Sort of metaphorically speaking, it's a bit of a boys club where everyone acts like 16-year-olds. There's lots of gossip and lots of innuendo and
right.
This and that. And
that's unfortunately that's a lot of industries. I hope it's not similar in terms of the carpet on the plane is not as sticky as what we tend to play with.
No, but it is though. Like it's simply because of competition. It's a very small industry, and Australia is a very small country with a very small amount of people, and everybody knows everybody, and everyone's out there to survive. And
networking, like you said. I mean, it's an important part. You're always selling, aren't you? You're always hustling.
Yeah, you are. And at any moment, someone's ready to swan in and do what you do. You're not special. That's what you got to remember in all industries. You're not very special, unless you're really special.
Thank you for acknowledging.
Someone like yourself, really special. But you know what I mean? Like you got to realise that you're a very small part of a very massive thing in a way. So it's just you got to do what you can, the best you can, be a good operator, and as I said, it's
the next step for you, the next part of your evolution, I would say, is astronaut, really, because like the guys are just you could be the next rocket man.
No, I don't know about that.
You could. That was another segue, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I just.
That's a great segue. I tell you what, just so I really don't muck this one up, I'm just going to. Because I always muck up. There's a particular chord change here that I always bugger up. So I'll sing.
That's okay. We're forgiving here. We're very forgiving.
Might just go straight for the chorus.
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find not the man I think I am at home. Oh no, no, no. I'm a rocket man, burning out these views of heaven alone. I think it's gonna be a long, long time. I think it's gonna be a long, long time.
Awesome. Well, if you fly as good as you sing and play, then I'm going to feel very comfortable sitting alongside you in the cockpit, warming my cockles many times.
I was going to say you're going to warm your cockles in the cockpit.
Any chance that I can...
Eating a spatchcock. Let's not go there. No more.
No more.
I had to say something I'm going to regret.
No, don't regret. Hey, Cock references are accepted around here at Live from the Lockdown Lounge. Hey, I'm going to ask a technical question, but before we move off this commercial pilot thing, did you get a cap? Did you get like a...
No. And I will endeavour to never have the uniformy kind of thing. The idea
Your wife would probably want you to have that, though.
Oh, maybe, but let's not go there either. But no, it's as I was getting back to the whole everyone acts like 16-year-olds. The best thing to do, for want of a better phrase, in the aviation industry is to just fly under the radar.
Nice.
Just do your thing. You've got your core group of people. Do your thing. Do it well, and just because as soon as it's that classic Australian thing of tall poppy syndrome. As soon as you start. Here I am, there's photos of me wearing bloody gold bars on my shoulder and,
Well, that's got to be different to the music industry, because the music industry is very much, here I am, selfie.
And believe me, that was one of the conversations I had with one good friend of mine who said to me, just trust me on this, because I was doing that, as you do. It's what I'm used to doing, is that whole self-promotion thing.
Yes.
Here I am sitting on a show talking about myself for a good long time. It's fantastic. Who doesn't like talking about themselves?
Yes.
So, I had to kind of about face that, do the whole yin and yang on how you present it in your head, and it's the opposite of that in that industry. You've just got to, do your thing quietly, hum away in the background, and no one will bother you.
There you go. Well, clearly you've been doing that and you've been successful. So let's jump over to the music side of things again. Obviously, we'll talk a bit about the dreaded COVID-19 later, but I guess you've been doing a regular live streaming thing, which has been great. Wednesday Hump Day.
Yeah, you might recognise the backdrop. This is the front room in my house, which I had all these amplifiers sitting out in the garage doing nothing, and I thought, well, everyone's doing blue screen or green screens and stuff. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get out all my amps and just tuck them behind me, and they can just sit there and... They're not even plugged in. They're literally just a prop. It's great.
It looks fantastic, and that's been going really well for you. And I have actually seen a couple. You're very interactive. You don't mind a chat, and I think people appreciate that, don't they?
Yeah, well, I think the key with these things is to be engaging, and and you can sit and play over and over again songs and whatnot. But I think having that engagement with people who are commenting, it's a bit like television. Like, imagine if someone did a shout out to you on television, you'd be just waiting for it. You'd be sitting there enthralled, waiting.
Yes.
He told me he was going to give me a shout out. He's on Rove tonight, and he's going to shout out to me. Like, you do that, and it's a similar kind of thing, although on a much smaller scale. I think people still get that same vibe from it, that it's going live. There's hundreds, of people that are going to see this. My name's going to get shouted out. If I say something, he's going to react. It's all live. It's all in the moment, and that is important. That's what people are sort of yearning for. Aside from the whole COVID thing, where people are yearning for the interaction as well. So it's kind of a double. There's a double up there of people's need for engagement, or want for engagement, I should say. It's not really a need, but it's more of people are just wanting that, I guess. So, yeah, have a chat and have a play and.
No, it's been...
Do some comments and, do some requests. People love the requests, if they can yell out a track and you can do it, they go, oh, wow, that's awesome. I did that, Everyone's digging my songs. It's great. So.
And that's why you're so great, because you've got a big, vast lot of repertoire too. And I guess looking at your sort of musical journey from ABBA to Foo Fighters to the current corporate project, which is Superband.
Yeah.
You have a wealth of material to draw from. Tell us a little bit about Superband. I've had the pleasure of seeing you guys before, and you are spectacular. So tell us a little bit about that project.
Okay, so Superband is a six-piece band with 5 of my really good mates. We were all part of a band prior to Superband. We were called Popcorn, and so we ended up going out on our own after that sort of ended, and we decided that we wanted to do things a bit differently, sort of launch a new band, new product, same sort of vibe as what most corporate cover bands do and pub bands do, but we just wanted to try and really use what we had, which is that killer rhythm section. Carl Lewis on drums, ex-Savage Garden, like Bachelor Girl. Drummer, fantastic guy as well, and Joe Fernand, who's on bass, and he's I played with Joey in cover bands, rock cover bands, all throughout Melbourne for a number of years, and his repertoire was huge. And although he's a great rock bass player, he's big on the funk and the slapping and the popping and so you put him together with someone like Carl, and it's just dynamite rhythm section. Then you got Jason Dean on keyboards, who's like not only a phenomenal pianist, but just his vocal is just so girthy and big. His range is massive, and he's got that real kind of soul sound about him. Then you got the two girls, Linda and Tanya, and both of them have their strengths. One's sort of more that kind of bubblegummy kind of girly tone, and then the other one's got like the real kind of raunchy soul kind of sound to her. So you put them together, and then me, sort of more of a rock sort of baritone to tenor kind of vibe there. So you put all that together, and it's got a really interesting flavour, and that's what I always liked about when we decided to do it, was that we were just going to play to that strength. What can we do with that kind of combination of people? And we chose our songs accordingly to that, and that was, and we were lucky enough to get a residency once a month at an establishment. We won't mention them, we'll just say that's an establishment. And we were able to sort of, because as I say, a live gig is worth 10 rehearsals, so we were kind of able to just launch straight into gigging. Yep. A few rehearsals at the start just to get everything sorted, but we basically sort of honed it and got to find our feet in a live situation, which is really the best way to do it, because you can see straight away if it's working. Yep. You're not sort of working away for hours and hours on end in a closed environment and then bringing this thing to a stage and you're like, ta-da, and everyone goes, You can sort of go, oh, we'll give this a crack, and you sort of feel it, and if they're feeling it, then you sort of launch with the crowd, and if they're not feeling it, you go, oh, shit, we won't do that song again.
Yeah, and you know what, you've got, you said that you're all good mates, and I think that's very apparent when watching you. There's a really good dynamic on stage. And the other thing that I think that you guys do really well is that you're a band within a band, and so you've got your generic sort of top 40 covers, but then you've got tributes within the band, and they're full on, you know, standalone shows, which I think is strategically a really, really clever way to keep yourself current. Yeah. And, you know, so you do a few tributes. Tell us a bit about those.
Yeah, well, Super Band is the band, but then we've got this thing that we sort of, and we were big on the branding of that. So we've got it, we decided to sort of have everything be Super Band Presents. And that's the tribute band stuff that we do. So we've got 2 at the moment. We had another one, but it sort of didn't get much work, so we just put that on the back burner. Like I said, give it a run. Doesn't work. Next, waste of time.
You really do have that mentality. You need to, and follow the money. If it works, put more resources behind it. Whatever
works, you know. You got to, you know, don't get too attached to it. Yeah, you put in the work and all that sort of stuff, but it didn't work. Next, you know, throw it out. Next. So yeah, one's the Piano Men, which is the songs of Billy Joel and Elton John. So that's where basically the 2 lady singers, they move to the back as BVs. We add in a percussionist and sax player, Artie Jones, who's of In Excessive fame. I don't know if you know the In Excess tribute band In Excessive, but he plays in that, and he's a phenomenal singer, percussionist, sax player. You know, he just does everything. He's one of our guitarist. He plays acoustic. Like it's just, he's just a jack of all trades. And then Jason goes out the front as himself. We don't pretend to be Elton or Billy. It's the songs of. We try to present them in our own. Well, it's pretty close to the original, but there's always that. Like I said, we play to our strengths. There's a particular sound that we have especially when all 4 vocals, and then with the addition of Artie, who's got his own special flavour and tone. You put those 5 vocals over the top of that killer rhythm section, and obviously, Jason's, you know, amazing keyboards and piano, and we always get him usually on a grand piano. He's right at home, and it's a brilliant show to kick back. I think, that said though, I think the best part of the show is actually when he sings by himself. Usually we put a couple of songs in the middle of each set, because we do a set of Elton and then a set of Billy. Yep. And we get Jason to do a couple just by himself, and I think that's when everyone goes...
Yeah. It's just that intimate moment. Yeah. And obviously both those artists are renowned for, you know, being soloists, really. Yeah. And I guess it just brings it all home, and I guess it showcases Jason's talent as well, which is important.
Like I said, it's just you can just tell he's comfortable, and he just kicks back and does his thing. It's not a real. It doesn't look. It might. I don't know. I don't know if it is. I don't think I've actually ever asked him if he really struggles to do it, but. I don't. It doesn't look like he does. He just seems to just kick back and do his thing every time. You know, he's one of those, and he's one of those dudes too. He'll rock up and go, "Oh, I've got a sore throat," and then we'll just get out and go bang. You know, just launch into it. Linda's the same with that. She won't even warm up. I don't think I've ever heard her say she's got a sore throat or anything. And Tanya's the same. She'll be like, "Oh, you know, I'm not feeling great. I've just got to. We'll get through tonight." And then they go out there and they just absolutely kill it. I'm the opposite. I'm like, if I'm feeling great, I'll do a great show. If I'm not feeling great, that's it. It's going to be balls.
So, big question from the whole audience is thinking at the moment, are you feeling great tonight?
I'm feeling okay.
You're feeling okay? All right. Well, how about for your first complete song tonight, we do a little bit of Call Me Al, and I know that you guys do this in Superband.
We do. We do.
Yeah.
It just reminds me, speaking of Superband, it just reminds me of every time we play this song, everyone just bloody loves it because it's such an amazing little dance track, I reckon. It's meant to be danced to. You've got to be, you know, that kind of thing. So if you are at home and you're, well, you obviously are, you're in isolation, most of you guys, so it is the Lockdown Lounge. So here we go, we'll get a little loop going. And a bit of bass. Here we go. Here's that riff, brother.
A man walks down the street, he says, "Why am I soft in the middle now? Why am I soft in the middle now? Rest of my life's so hard. I need a photo opportunity. I want a shot of redemption, and I don't want to end up a cartoon in a cartoon graveyard. Bone digger, dogs in the moonlight, far away in my well-lit door. Mr. Beer Belly, get these mitts away from me, you know. I don't find this stuff amusing anymore. Well, if you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long-lost pal. Well, I can call you Betty, Betty, when you call me, you can call me out. A man walks down the street, he says, "Why am I short of attention? Got a short little span of attention. Well, my nights are so long. Where's my wife and family? What if I die here? Who'll be my role model? Now my role model is gone. He ducked down behind the alleyway with some roly-poly little bat-faced girl. When all along, there were incidents and accidents. There were hits and allegations. Here we go. Well, if you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long-lost pal. Well, I can call you Betty, Betty, when you call me, you can call me out, you can call me out. So
fun, mate.
A man walks down the street, it's a street in the strange world. Maybe it's the third world, maybe it's just first time around. Doesn't speak language, and he holds no currency. He is a foreign man, but he is surrounded by the sound of the cattle in the marketplace and all those scatterlings and orphanages. He looks around and around, he sees angels in the architecture. Well, they're spinning in infinity. He says, amen, hallelujah. If you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long-lost pal. Well, I can call you Betty, Betty, when you call me, you can call me out, you can call me out. Na, 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 na. na 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 na. The bongos, yo.
So good, so good.
It is so much fun. That's what it is. That's a great song to play.
You look like you're having great fun, and people love that because it's sincere and it comes across, and no wonder your hump day has been humping along so well.
Great. That's a great segue. That humping along nicely.
Hey, Dylan, did you know that we are sponsored by the amazing people at Cranbourne Music? They are so wonderful. They've been with us for the whole time, the whole duration. I think it's 8 or 9 weeks. They have been with us all the way. They're wonderful people. They've got the Limbrick store and their Elizabeth Street store city. You can click and collect. You can go online, or you can go in the store, which I highly recommend now. Go in and say good day. They will look out for you. Thank you, Cranbourne Music. Hey, one of our new popular segments, we've got so many popular segments. This one's called Back When I Thought I Was Cool. And we asked our artists to send a picture of themselves back when they thought they were cool. I guess the name says it really. And before we go to your wonderful image that you've provided us, we, of course, have to run the sting. Roll the sting.
Ooh, how you like me now? How you like me now? Ooh. Back when I thought I was cool.
There you go. Back when I thought I was cool. Now, Dylan, we've got a picture of you doing the whole band, the boy band shot, and got the serious face and, kind of smelling the fart in the distance kind of vibe going on.
That's why I sent this one. I thought every time I look at this photo, I just think, oh, God, what a knob.
Now, I can't tell which one you are. Are you at the back? Is that you at the back?
Yeah, that's me in the back. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now, not only are you guys, smelling the fart kind of vibe, look.
All of 20 years old in that shot. It's just, we were ready to rock.
Look at you. Very, very good-looking young man. And you're very good-looking older man. Not old man, not old like me, but older man. You know.
Thanks.
But tell us where you were standing when you took this picture.
Oh, that's in Glenn's front yard. Our first major shoot was just in Glenn's house. It was great. We were shoestring budget and we had to get things done. So we just thought, we'll just get a photographer over, and I think we bought every bit of clothing we owned and threw it all on a mattress on a bed somewhere and said, right, okay, you try that one on, you try that one. And of course, I was the most uncool guy out of the lot as well. So the guys dressed me.
Really?
And there's other people that I've worked with in years afterwards. And Bryony Dawson, we were talking about her in the pre-show. Actually, she's another person that I've been working with in original music, and she's the same. She'll agree with this, that you've always got to dress Dylan, because I'm the most uncool dude on the planet. I'm still rocking the Marty McFly kind of skateboard looker thing here. So
yeah. Well, mate, yeah. You've got us all fooled, because you look very cool to me, and So we're in Glenn Wheatley's front yard under a tree in our Sunday best, and looking mighty cool. And what did you use this shot for? Was this just initial promo shots, or?
I think a lot of it just went on our website, or maybe hang on, it probably went on our MySpace.
Yes, we're talking 2004. So
yeah. So it was definitely on the MySpace, I'd say.
A spectacular entry, and I think you've captured the spirit, because back then you did think you were cool. In fact, all four of you are looking like you all thought you were very, very cool.
We were just ready to go, that's why I look at that shot though, and it actually is quite inspiring when you think about it. And you shouldn't really be afraid to look at some of those older shots of yourself. Although this is an in-jest kind of funny segment, it really is. But I can't help but always take the seriousness.
Yeah. I was going to say, don't bring us down, man. Come on.
But it is like you've got to look at these things and say, you know what, like channel that energy that you can see in that photo that you remember, and apply it today, and it really does give you a bit of oomph. Far out. Like you look at that photo, we were ready to go. We were full of zest and full of beans, and it's just like, right, let's go, come on,
And you gotta have that. And we're still, I mean, you and I are still taking pictures today, corporate shots, and you do sometimes have to put on the serious face and think, and you look at it and you go, yeah, I think that's right, but give it 10 years and you won't be thinking that. But
well, even when we launched Superband, we did a big shoot with Clarissa from Iska Photography. Check her out; she's bloody awesome. And she, tried to get us all to kind of relax because we're all very nervous about going on this big thing. And she said the same thing. She's like, guys, you're about to go out and, do your thing. Like, let's just do something crazy. And we all kind of did this weird kind of pose. And that was one of the best shots that she got, was on that kind of, here we are, yo!
Yeah, you've got to let the shackles off.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
It's great. Well, look, that was our segment back when I thought I was cool. Great entry from Mr. Dylan Boyd. And, of course, we celebrate by running the sting again. Run the sting.
Ooh, how you like me now? How you like me now? Ooh. Back when I thought I was cool.
There you go. Now, my friend, we have to get into this whole COVID-19 discussion because I guess that's why we're here now. With many of the guests, we talk about gig cancellations. I'd like to hone in on emotions. I mean, we've all had gigs lost, but really the one thing that is unique to each individual is the emotions that they went through when they realised this was big. So tell me about your emotions at the time when you realised, shit, I've just lost all my gigs for the next 6 months.
I think it was come sort of January, like late Jan, we had a few things in the pipeline for like April, May, big events. One of them was in Hong Kong, for God's sake,
wow.
And a couple of cruise ships and stuff like that, and they sort of started to go, and it was because of due COVID-19. And I remember having a very short conversation with the guys on a conference call. I just said to them, "Get ready, we're going to lose everything." And I'm a bit of a doomsdayer when it comes to that sort of stuff. I just knew it. I just go, you know what, this is gonna. If we're going to track anything like anybody else, this is all going to get shut down pretty quickly. And they did. They started to sort of drop off slowly. And obviously with social media, you get to see everybody else sort of drop off slowly. And I did some financials, and I sort of got myself into a frame of mind where I thought, okay, this is probably going to happen.
I can always fall back on my flying and my aviation.
Well, no, we'll get to that in a second because that's the worst bit of the whole equation, really, when you think about it. But it was like it's all going, and I remember because we got it, and myself personally, I do a lot of work at one particular venue. And it's a very big venue. You can guess what it is.
Yeah, it's okay. We can say it.
We can say it. Okay. I just wasn't sure what the go was, but yeah, it was Crown. So I do a lot of work at Crown Casino, and I was like, look, I'll be fine. Like, I don't know about the rest of you guys, and I'm pretty sure most people who are in my scene as well, a lot of us work at Crown. We'll be fine as long as Crown doesn't shut. And then about a week later, I was sitting there on the Sunday night. I did one of the last gigs at Crown. It was myself and my mate Ollie at one of the venues there, and there was another duo playing at another venue, Matty Bradshaw and Dom Italiano, and we finished at 12, they finished at 1, and then the next day on the Monday it was done.
God.
And that's when that was like pulling the card out of the house, it was just like, for want of a better phrase, of a casino, it was just like they did that and everything was gone. So, and that's when I sort of went into a bit of a panic mode, and as you do, but I liken it back to the flying in a way that, when you have an engine failure in the cruise, like we're cruising along, and you're in a multi-engine aircraft, you've got all these, think about it, you've got two engines. So in my case, I've got all these other acts and stuff, all this stuff going on, and you lose an engine. They always say the first thing to do is nothing. don't do anything. Sit back, have a look at what's going on, and try and diagnose problems and try and, assess the situation before you act. And that's kind of, I took that mindset almost straight away. A lot of people threw their arms in the air like, oh my God, the sky's falling. And it's like, yeah, it was, but, what good is throwing your arms in the air, or worse yet, burying your head in the sand, which I think a lot of
people... Or using a screechy falsetto voice.
Or using a screechy falsetto voice, exactly. So I kind of... The first thing I did was just have a really good look at the financial side of things. Have I paid enough tax? Am I going to get a big bill at the end of the year? All that kind of stuff. I've really just went and figured it all out and had a look at, all the options that were available from the government, and then obviously had a little bit of a sniff around for what might be left of the aviation industry, and unfortunately it too completely decimated, right from airline work right down to smaller charter operators and scenic flights, skydiving work, all those things that I had a bunch of plans and a bunch of sort of plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and all of them just got wiped straight away pretty much in the blink of an eye, and you sort of go, oh goodness me. So yeah, it was that time where I was like, okay, what's everyone doing? And again, a lot of people running around with their like their heads are cut off, chickens type running around.
Do the voice again.
Oh my God! Oh my God! The sky's falling. So that's when I funnily enough, I got asked to come onto a live stream gig, and it was a good friend of mine, Jordan Mills, and he's got a little thing on Saturday nights called the Virtual Pub, which took off very quickly, which is basically like this. It's a big Zoom meeting where a bunch of musos get on and we just, pass the gong around essentially and play songs and chat and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of forced me to get my rig sorted and have a little look around. And like I said, I set up the backdrop here and just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do one a week and see what happens, and do the donations thing and the tip jar and all that kind of stuff, and it's just been phenomenal, people's generosity, and it's very humbling to know that people care and they are being very, very generous with their donations. And
it's a good point. I think people realise how important the local entertainment industry is, and not only how much they rely on it, but how talented the industry is. And I think, if anything, the live streaming has got them a little bit more of an intimate view of all the artists within it, and a little bit more personality and things. I'm really hopeful, and I'm a glass half full kind of guy, that when we come out of this, that there's going to be even greater support, and there's going to be gigs galore for everybody, because people are going to be hanging for that, that live interaction again. So hopefully that's where we go.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to see what people are predicting might be the way it sort of the tap turns back on again. I was talking to a couple of people today, actually my good friend, and he's also my booking agent, Simon Mills. I think you know Simon.
I know Simon well,
and Tracy. I was down at their farm today having a bit of a yak, and they're talking about, venues are sort of slowly coming back online, but it's not going to be packed full of 500 people or 300 people or even 100 people. It'll be the sort of thing where it'll be a small, say a bistro service, and you'll have your muso in the corner, but see like how we've got this little live rig going on here. This is very mobile. And the good thing that you could, I reckon one thing venues would like to do is that, you come in and you do your gig at their venue, and you can chuck in using these wonderful applications. You can have little advertisements for, say, we've got a special now on $20 Palmers for the next hour takeaway. Come down to such and such, and here's a few more songs. And it's just sort of, it's actually forced a lot of people to do what they perhaps should have been doing all along, which is creating amazing content for their social media streams, to try and generate business. It's one of those things, though, for a lot of people.
Well, look,
unless you're forced into it, you probably won't.
Exactly, you don't. Yeah. Well, my prediction is, and I think that we are headed for a Vegas type dynamic. So we are forced into a situation where it'll be dinner and show. Yeah. So because dance floors, I can't see them coming back into from a health point of view, being able to sort of bring in dance floors anytime soon. So people will need to come into venues, sit down and eat, and therefore the onus is back on the artist and the bands to be super entertaining, super interactive, so that you can, and this is why, a band like yours, like Superband, I think will thrive in that, that environment. I'd like to think my band as well, because, the main string to our bow is interactive entertainment, bringing the audience in so people can sit there and enjoy the show, and not dance. So anyway, that's my little prediction.
I think you're right, and I think even moving back to the live stream thing is that you are kind of forced as an artist, as a performer, when you're not playing. It's very similar to a dinner and show. Once you stop playing, or a theatre, fully seated show, as soon as you stop playing, you can hear a pin drop. Yeah. And that was when we started doing the Piano Men show. That was one of the first things we had to kind of get over very quickly. I think it was after our first show we did it something like Bunjil Place or something. We mentioned that. It was like, oh my God, you can hear a pin drop in here once we stop playing. Like everyone just is dead silent. And it's the same in here, and it's become a lot less foreign now for me. And that was one of the things that always used to make me really nervous about going live, was that there's no... They can hear everything I do, all the little furry bits, because there's no ambient noise in the background. It's just me. And we've all heard desk tapes of us playing, and they sound shocking because they've got no processing on them or anything like that. There's no volume or whatever, and it was like, oh my God, this is making me...
You're very exposed. You're very vulnerable.
Yeah, you are. It's like, here's a cup, and there's Burke Street. Go and poo in this cup in the middle of Burke Street for me. You're like, what?
I'd watch that. I'd pay.
Like that's kind of how it feels, though. Well, especially when you first start doing it. It's one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. Going live.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Out of all the things that I would have linked going live to feel like, that's probably not one of them that would have sprung pooing in a cup.
Being naked in the middle of Burke Street going poo into a cup.
But it just shows that your imagination, you could imagine anything, which is my segue into this next song.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right.
What? Imagine. And I don't want everyone to associate this song with pooing in a cup and Burke Street, but that's kind of what I've done with the segue, really. I apologise.
What have we done?
What have we done? Forever. This timeless song is associated. So
every song I played tonight's been in the key of C.
I see.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today.
Just a
Beautiful.
wee bit. Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit, not a poo bit.
God, what have we started here? Where is that?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, if we planted the seed, that's it. We're going to stop. We're not putting
I can't
water
stop.
on this. All right, just leave it.
I can't stop. Once I start, I cannot stop.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I'm so sorry.
Yes, I'm happy to lay blame at your feet. Thank you. So you've obviously got, you think through things deeply, and you're very organised, and you like to know your direction, and you're strategic about how you go with everything. Has that helped your mental health, or is it compounded things because you're thinking so much and it makes you worry about possible consequences?
Oh, look, I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. Like everybody, I think you have your moments where it all gets a bit much. But, I've been really lucky that I've been here at home with, a loving, supportive partner. And I think I've got some friends who haven't had that. So it's time to get on the phone,
Yep.
and it's amazing actually to see who picks up the phone first of all, but also who randomly calls you as well to see. And I think it's kind of shown who's I guess real friends in all this kind of stuff. And we have, for the most part, I think we've really kind of come together, and that's that classic saying, we'll get through this together kind of thing. And it is true. Being together has been, or trying to be together as much as we can, whether it be on a Zoom call or a phone call or something, has been a handy thing to do when, things aren't great in your mind. But yeah, you can plan as much as you want, and as you just said, I'm a real kind of planner, and I've always got my mind's eye in the future and all that kind of stuff, but it's important to try and be in the now as much as you can. And I tell this to people all the time, but I tell you what, it's really hard to listen to your own words sometimes. And a good friend of mine, Carl Lewis, told me about, being kind to yourself, and realising that, that it is okay to have those conversations, those hard conversations with yourself. And I've had plenty of those, where you've just got to go, all right, I can't overthink this anymore. Like I said, you need to sort of step back, do nothing for a minute, and just go, right, I'm in the now, in the present, what's happening? How can this is all changing. And that was one of the hardest things too, I reckon, was that it was ever evolving. We didn't really know what was going on. We still don't really know what's going on. There's still so many questions to be answered, and so much, it's really hard to make plans, but I guess...
And that's a really good point, is for our industry more than anyone else, we don't know when we're going to go back to some kind of normality. Playing out big outdoor functions, playing a gig with, people on a dance floor, we really don't know. And people from our industry that, rely heavily on that revenue stream, it can be quite stressful.
But here's the the thing that I take from that is that that we don't really know what's going on. So I'm not saying that I've sort of dismissed it and I'm not going to ever go back to playing music or anything like that, but I look at this opportunity that we've had, like some people are on JobKeeper, some people are not, some people are on JobSeeker. There's things going on there. If you're lucky enough to be on that, you've kind of been given an opportunity, as well as, if you've been able to get some sort of relief on your rent or your mortgage or whatever, there's kind of been this unofficial 6-month period where we've been given an opportunity to try and... another good friend of mine, and I keep saying good friend of mine because I have been, like I said, talking to a lot of people on the phone, and he said, you're going to have to think your way out of this. You're going to have to think your way out of this. I say that twice because it's really important to get that message through, I think, that you've been given this opportunity where there's a lot less noise in the world. You could probably start thinking about some of those ideas that perhaps you had, innovate, sidestepping, there's... burying your head in the sand and saying, I'm a musician and I'm waiting for everything to come back is probably not, in my opinion, you can say I'm wrong if you like, but, I might be. I think it's probably not the wisest decision to make. I think if you've got some sort of relief in this situation financially and you've got some time, put it to good use. Like I said, even if it's coming up with these live gigs and trying some new things here, because this is a whole new endeavour for me. I've never done one before in my life. I never even put the phone on live, just to do a live thing, because I was always really nervous. Oh shit, it's live. I can't edit that. I'm not doing that. No way.
It would be like shitting in a cup and putting it on.
Something like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's if anything, going on from this, where do we go from here, is that it's about innovation, and there are a lot of people doing it, and it's really quite inspiring to see what some of my friends are doing. They're moving and shaking, and I've got some ideas humming away in the background that have got nothing to do with music. They don't even have anything to do with flying. They're just things that I've thought, that's a really great idea, and now I've got the time, I'm going to invest in looking at what the potential of that is in this sort of post-COVID disaster world. And as things unfold and we get more clarity, as long as you've got a few irons and a few fires, you can probably latch onto something when the time's right. You've just got to be on the ball, and again, you've got to think your way out of it. That's the...
No, it's some really good messages there, and I think being innovative and using the time to strategize and add more strings to your bow is all really good. I'm a big believer in putting out positive energy. And I think that's essentially what the heart of this show is all about, is to for our industry to have people sharing their experiences, which potentially makes it easier for others to know that, hey, you know, we're all going through something similar, and, you know, perhaps that shares the load a little bit. And so one of the things that we do on our website, lockdownlounge.live, is every interview that we have is the artists nominate a charity that's close to their heart, and just putting out that positivity out there. You've nominated charity that I guess is really relevant at this time. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, Support Act, they do a lot of things. It's one of those, they're kind of a whole umbrella of things, from, you know, financial support to counselling to, you know...
and specifically for the entertainment
but
industry.
Specifically for the entertainment industry, and that's a very broad stroke. So that's everything from, you know, musicians to road crew to sound engineers to musical theatre people, venue staff, all that kind of stuff. So it's all that, you know, all-encompassing kind of thing, and they're doing some amazing stuff. Head to their website if you can, folks, and check out what they're up to. It's pretty good. Supportact.org.
Yep, that'll be coming up on the screen.
Wonderful.
As you're, you know, do the right thing and support the industry and send out some love. And
yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not? Hey, man, we've come to your second full song tonight. So tell us the song you've chosen and why you've chosen this song. And yeah.
I spoke about him a lot before, but this song reminds me a lot of my buddy Jason Dean from the Superband show and the Piano Men show. And this is a Billy Joel song, and I just love how it translates on the guitar. I don't know why. It's just got a really good vibe. I love playing it. So it's called My Life.
Your Life, fantastic.
Doesn't work if you don't turn the guitar on. Yeah. Get a loop going.
To be real close, said he couldn't go on the American way. Closed the shop, sold the house, bought a ticket to the West Coast. Now he gives them a stand-up routine in LA. For me, 'cause I'm alright. And I don't want you to tell me it's time to come home. And I don't care what you say anymore, this is my life. Go ahead with your own life, leave me alone. I never said who had to offer you a second chance. Said I was a victim of circumstance. Well, I still belong. Don't get me wrong, but you can speak your mind, but not on my time. They will tell you you can't sleep alone in a strange place. Then they tell you you can't sleep with somebody else. Well, but sooner or later you sleep in your own space. Either way, it's okay, you wake up with yourself. And I don't need you to worry you to tell me it's time to come home. And I don't care what you say anymore, this is my life. Go ahead with your own life, leave me alone. I never said I had to offer you a second chance. I never said I was a victim of circumstance. Well, I still belong. Don't get me wrong, but you can speak your mind, but not on my time. I don't care what you say anymore, this is my life. Go ahead with your own life, leave me alone. Now keep it to yourself, it's my life, leave me alone. Now keep it to yourself, it's my life, leave me alone. Now keep it to yourself, it's my life, leave me alone. Now keep it to yourself, it's my life.
Woo! Awesome, man.
Thanks, brother. Thank you so much.
So good. So good. Man, well, we've come to our most popular segment of the show, and we call it Gig Chicken because, as you know, every muso that has played in a corporate band, cover band, whenever you go to the venue, you get chicken. You get boiled chicken, fried chicken, diced chicken, sliced chicken,
God.
any other chicken you can think of, Dylan.
I'll have the, excuse me, what would you like, sir? What are the options? The chicken or the chicken?
I'll have a cup of shit in Burke Street, thanks.
I think I'll have the chicken. Well, it's always bread rolls. You've always got to ask for extra bread rolls. That's what
And
I
butter.
say.
Yeah, they give you the bread rolls. And they
Bring some butter.
Bring some butter, please. And it's always chicken, always chicken. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is why this segment is called Gig Chicken. Every good segment deserves a sting. Play the sting. There it is, Dylan, and all those bucks and Gig Chicken from our. Yeah, I need you to harmonise with me on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Gig Chicken.
We both did the same bloody note, though. That's the problem.
Hey, I'm a front man. I can't,
Stop.
It's not my job to harmonise.
We'll end up breaking people's glasses in their in their front rooms or something. There's going to be
As long as we don't break
everywhere.
the cup, because we know what's in the cup.
Don't break. No, no. Stop.
I can't stop. I told you I cannot stop. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a series of really important questions. If you get these questions right, which assumably you will because they're questions about you, you will receive chicken in the mail anywhere between 4 and 72 working days. I stress working days, okay? The chicken will still be warm and you can do whatever you like with the chicken. You can talk to the chicken. You can hang it up as art. You can take it for a walk. You can take it into your bedroom and sing lullabies to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
I've always wanted a chicken. Yes.
It's dead. Don't worry. It's not live. Okay. Question number 1. Best gig you've ever played?
Oh. I think, look, I think it was probably like way back when, in the aforementioned Sparrows days. I think it was probably headlining the Great Northern Hotel in Byron Bay after we played the Blues Fest for 2 days, and then we did the Sunday night as a headliner act, and we were meant to do a 45-minute set. It was packed, and we ended up playing for an hour and a half, and it was just one of those horribly sweaty, packed, beautiful, like, you just wouldn't get away with it today kind of vibe.
No.
And just the fact that we ended up playing every song we knew and whatever, and just flat out like big long jams, and it was something like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It ended up being, they literally had to, the manager's like, guys, it's like bloody 1 a.m. We got to shut,
And that's really interesting because you would have done some amazing corporate gigs, but the gig that you rate the best is an original. And I guess that harks back to, we all become musos because we we want to write songs, we want to play our own music. And I guess that emotional connection with that performance stands out.
Just when you got an environment like that, you know that people are there to see you. They're not there because they want to be at the venue. Like, that just happens to be that's where you're playing. And that's why they're there. That kind of vibe, that's one thing. If you were to ask me that question, what do I miss the most? It would be that kind of vibe in a way. But again, you don't get that unless you've got 110% dedication and commitment and got nothing else on your plate, and that's your sole focus, and that's it. And even then, it still might not happen.
Yeah. Well, you're leading Gig Chicken at the moment, so that's good news, all right?
Good.
So you're going well. Question number 2, weirdest gig you've ever played?
Okay, so I think one that comes to mind is a Bjorn Again gig.
Right.
And it was a private function up in on the Gold Coast in like this gated community type thing, and it was the strangest setup. There was a big pool in this guy's backyard, and they had us on one side of the pool, and then on the other side of the pool was the party of about, I don't know, there would have been easily only 50 or 60 people, but they were all very, lots of coin in the room type vibe, and we played this set, and I remember saying to the guy that was playing the Benny part on that night, which was David Van Elst. I don't know if you've ever met David, but he's an exceptional piano player, exceptional vocalist, and also an all-round pisser of a bloke. And I said to him, you know what we should do? We should all just jump in the pool after it's done. Because they were all... it was so funny. Throughout the start of the night, they were all very uppity and, all that sort of stuff. And I said to Dave, Dave, just jump in the pool. And I think I said it like, jump in the pool! Like, just yelled out at the top of my voice, Dave, jump in the pool! And
that doesn't sound like a Swedish accent to me.
No, it wasn't, no. And he just sort of, he's dingling away, and bong, and then round the side of the thing, launches like full, like this.
The
full bomb into the pool. Noel Tenney, who was the drummer, did the same thing. He ran out. The two chicks put their mics on their stand, jumped in, and I'm sort of standing there going, oh shit, I guess that means I've got to jump in. And then everybody else from the other side of all these what I thought were really prim proper people, they were obviously all sitting down drinking the entire time. And they just all got up out of their seats and jumped in the pool with the band, fully clothed.
That is...
shoes on, everything. And I was like, oh, okay.
All inspired by you. All inspired by you. That first little... jump in the pool.
I'm not too sure if it was me that came up with the idea at the start. I think someone might have mentioned it, but I definitely yelled it out. I was like, get in the pool!
That is a weird gig. In fact, it's an image of a wild world, really, isn't it? It's like, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Do you see what I did there?
Wrong chord there. It's a minor.
La 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 la. Baby, it's a wild world, and hard to get by just upon a smile, girl. Whoa, baby, it's a wild world, and I always remember you just like a child, girl.
Awesome. Jump in the pool, Dylan, jump in the pool.
You can't do that chord at the end without this face.
Great face. Great face. That looks like my face just before I grab a cup and...
Oh, God, he's gone there again. No!
It's the cup that keeps on giving.
I'm really sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that I mentioned that...
that analogy was just...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you
I've
took us
been known
there.
for my analogies, but that one just, I don't know where it came from. It
I
just
think
was there.
That's going to stick, my friend.
Anyway. Righto.
Okay, question number 3. You are still leading Gig Chicken. Question number 3. Last time you were nervous?
We mentioned it before. Doing my first live gig, my first live stream, live stream gig. Could play in front of thousands of people, no problem. Sit me in a room by myself in front of a computer with a red light on, knowing that people are watching me and I've got no cover. It's raw. It's, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
It was very frightening. That and standing next to someone in a urinal. Yeah, that's I can play in front of thousands of people, all that kind of stuff on stage, but I cannot piss next to one person. That's
Really?
No.
Well, that could be your next live stream. Nothing will happen. You just stand there next to somebody else and...
Especially when they walk up to you. Come on, you know what it's like. You're there, you've just, you think you're alone, you've started, it's all good, if you do happen to have a problem with stage fright in this regard. And then you always get some bloke that comes up and goes, whacks you on the back and says, "G'day, champ, you're winning." And you're like, oh, go away.
Yeah, I know.
I've got my thing out, I'm like, this is... Just because we're in here doesn't mean it's any different. Like,
yes.
God.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I hate it because it always happens to me. Some guy comes up next to me, looks down and goes, "Wow, nice."
Yeah, really? Usually
happens all the time.
Jeez, that's what I get.
I know, and I say, "Don't worry, it grows on you." No, I don't say that. I've never said that in a urinal before. Anyway, you've digressed incredibly. You've taken this, our favourite segment, our most popular segment. I don't know what you've done to it, Dylan Boyd, but it wasn't the intent. Okay. Question number 4. Now, I've had to put a sub-question into this because every cover band person I've said, we've asked this question to has said the same answer. But let's go. Question number 4, most requested song.
I think I know what everyone's going to say.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Go on, say it.
Well, it's obviously Bloody Horses.
Yeah, Bloody Horses.
But
okay, so
it is an amazing song, though, and I remember when a mate of mine asked me, for some new material to play back in, I think it was 2005 or 6, and we did a MIDI-backed duo, so drums and bass on a MIDI backing track and played guitars over the top of it. Glorified karaoke it was fantastic. And I said to him, "Can you make me a track for Horses?" And he goes, "Why on earth would you want to play that song?" I'm like, "Trust me, it'll go off. It'll go off." I'm not saying it was my fault, people, but it had to start somewhere. And it was the Bay Hotel in Mornington on a Friday night, and it was just we played that song to a bunch of 8 to 10-year-olds, and they loved it.
Are you on our show? Are you taking responsibility? This is a big moment. Are you taking responsibility? Yes. So it was you. So do you play it on your live streams on Hump Day Wednesdays?
Absolutely not.
You don't?
No.
Oh.
No. As soon as you hear this chord, I think it might be Horses, and then someone goes, and you go, "Yep, he's gonna play Bloody Horses," and you go, "That's it, I'm out." Boom, and you watch the count go down on the live stream.
Really? Oh, good.
I think even people are getting sick of it. Even when we start launching into it now, sometimes you have to
But I think you need to be drunk and at the end of the night when you just, you just want to put your arm around a random stranger at a urinal and sing, "Wow, horse."
That's the way it's going to be. Little darling. Oh, get your hand off me. Out of here.
It looks like a little jockey. Okay, we've digressed again. Question number 5, and this is for the win. This is for the chicken in the mail, okay?
Goodness.
Question number 5, most famous person you've met or performed for?
I haven't played with anyone famous, really. When I do certain gigs where they have to sort of say who you've played with in the past, my going thing is I say that I've played with nearly every musician who's ever played with anyone famous. Never had that chance.
In front of famous people, or met them by chance, or
I think the one that always brings a bit of excitement in my mind is when I met Joe Bonamassa, because he's one of my all-time favourite guitarists, and I was lucky enough, a friend knew the bass player, and after the show we went down in the depths of the Palais Theatre downstairs, there's this beautiful sort of lounge. I have no idea these things are there. And we sort of went down there, and there was a few wines and whatever, and everyone was chilling. And then, he sort of came down, and after the show, he was happy to chill out and have a few wines with a few friends of the band, and it was a very communal thing. I was very surprised. He seems like one of those dudes that he sort of, show's over, off he goes. But he wasn't. He was happy to chill and have a wine, and we talked about running one of these amplifiers, the old DSL, because that's what he uses for his touring internationally, and there's a way to set them to get a particular tone out of them, which I love. And it's using a tube screamer and one of them, and we sort of wanked on about guitar tone for a good 20 or 30 minutes, and got a photo, and that was great. That was really nice.
That's
he was a really
good.
lovely fellow. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Dylan, I'm pleased to announce that you have won Gig Chicken tonight. You've slayed it, my friend. So within 4 and 72 working days, you will receive chicken in the mail to do whatever you want. And to start off the celebration, we, of course, run the sting. Roll the sting. There you have it. Gig Chicken!
I missed it, sorry.
Yeah, you missed it, man. 1, 2, 3. Gig Chicken! That was pretty good. Chickens all over the world are rolling in their nests. And, of course, we always say that some chickens were harmed during the making of that sting emotionally. So there you have it. Hey, so Dylan, would you consider yourself a guitarist first or a vocalist first, or a bit of both?
A bit of both.
Bit of both.
Bit of both.
Yeah.
I always kind of thought I was a guitarist, and then I thought, no, hang on. It's better to be a singer. No, hang on. No, whatever. Who cares? Just do your thing.
And you do it so well. Hey,
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No, you are awesome, my friend. And hopefully we got a whole lot more people jumping on your hump day as well. Actually, let's plug that while we're here. Let's plug the Wednesday hump day. Where can people find you?
So that's facebook.com/Dylan Boyd Music. DYLAN, like Bob Dylan. Dylan Boyd Music.
Fantastic. And that is every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep, what time?
8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Fantastic. For all our international viewers out
That's right.
there. Hey, we're not going to get you to go away because there's more that I want from you. But on Thursday night, we've got King Canyon coming up, which is Jimmy Couples and James Ryan, their new project. So jump on live from the Lockdown Lounge on Thursday night, and we'll put these guys to the test of the musical challenge, see if they're up to it as our amazing Dylan Boyd has been able to do it. See if they've got any cup analogies that they're going to throw at me. Hopefully they don't throw them at me. In fact,
I think Jimmy will be really good at doing the Gig Chicken high note.
Yes,
you should definitely.
I think he might rip that up.
That one.
I think
he's gonna break the internet with that one. I think.
Now,
good fellas they are.
They are great fellas, very talented fellas.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
I've been looking for a segue for Ichiku Park all night, but I just haven't been able to work in Ichiku other than if I was able to tickle you and say Ichiku. But that's yeah, that's about all I had.
Just clear the throat. Yeah, that one.
Over bridge of sights to rest my eyes in shades of green, under dreaming spires, and to Ichiku Park, that's where I've been. What did you do there? I got high. What did you touch there? I touched the sky, but why the tears there? I tell you why. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. Well, I feel inclined to blow my mind, get hung up, feed the ducks with a bun. Well, they all come out to groove and bounce, be nice and have fun in the sun.
too beautiful. What can I say?
It is.
What can I say? Hey, don't you go away. One of our closing segments we call Coping with Lockdown, and we show you funny videos from all over the world how people are coping with lockdown. Here's one, an American gentleman talking about the coronavirus and his thoughts about how best to cope with it. Roll the video.
Police in New Orleans clearing out Bourbon Street, breaking developments in the coronavirus pandemic.
Look, I can understand it both ways. I understand it, but everybody acting like the coronavirus is just so much of a big deal. Everybody scared and everything. I'm just saying, I played a hell of a joke on these people at work. Yeah. Look, I locked the door from the outside. They was in there having lunch. I walked in the room. I said, achoo! You should have seen them in there running, trying to get out the windows out of that thing. I said, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. They was in there sweating like a snowman in hell. Look, I just can't wait till you get back to the days where you can stick your in somebody's ass and not have to wash your hands afterwards. You know, now you gotta go ahead and drink a whole bottle of sanitizer before you do anything. The coronavirus is not that damn serious, y'all. Hey, don't do that.
There he was. Some really interesting advice there. I'm going to get more out of you, Dylan, so don't feel that, you know. But actually, you know what I'd like? I'd like a little bit of Rolling Stones. Can you give me? We won't do horses as such. We'll do that. That was the segue I missed. I should have gone wild horses. Man,
there you go.
Man, I'm slipping.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to chuck a capo on this one because I always seem to
chuck a capo on.
Chuck a capo on.
Is easy to do. Those things you wanted, I brought them for you.
I'll get that chorus. Here we go.
Wild, wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild, wild horses couldn't drag me away.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Interestingly enough, we were talking before about an old friend that I met up with and ended up playing at his wedding, and he was the one who kind of told me to get onto the flying thing. That was the song that I sang at his wedding.
Wow.
His wife walked down the aisle to Wild Horses. Yes. Matt and Priscilla, if you're watching, hello.
Of course they'll be watching. Your whole friend, family network are all watching, saying, wow, we're so proud of DB.
Oh, stop.
Hey, you know what? We like to finish the show with a message of positivity from our guest. And I guess, you know, and you seem to me as a bit of a deep thinker, and you're, you know, we want to keep pushing out those positive vibes. So the screen is yours, my friend. Send out some positivity to our audience.
Well, I think as they've been saying, we are all in this together, and I think it's very true. You know, I think the best thing everyone can do is try and, although we can't physically see each other as much as we'd like to anymore, it's really important to reach out to your friends around, even if you've got nothing to say. Just to see a name calling you occasionally, you look down at the phone and someone's calling. It's nice, you know. And you know, for God's sake, don't bury your head in the sand. Let's figure something out. You know, let's try and, you know, there's emerging markets, there's emerging kind of opportunities. You know, you've got to be awake and open to that, and sort of living right now. Don't worry about what's happened, that's in the past, and certainly don't worry too much about what's going on in the future, because you can't really do anything about either of those things. What's important is what's happening to you right now, and to try and get yourself right. You know, whatever, if you're not feeling great, you know, go and speak to friends and speak to family and all that kind of stuff. Get yourself sorted, get back on the horse, and let's, there's the horses thing again. get back on that horse and you know, try and figure something out. You got to think your way out of it, man. That's my
great
little bit
message.
of advice. Yeah,
No, beautiful message. Yeah, be proactive. You know, yeah, use the time to pivot. That's the key corporate word at the moment. Pivot,
absolutely,
and find a new way. I think if I needed somebody to come to for advice, you would be the one who I'd want to show me the way. And how about
I love your segues. These are fantastic.
a bit of Peter Frampton to hang it out.
I'm wondering how you're feeling. There's ringing in my ears, and no one to relate to except to see. Who can I believe in? I'm kneeling on the floor. There has to be a force. Who do I fall? The stars are out and shining, but all I really wanna know, oh, won't you show me the way every day? I want you, show me the way, oh, I want you, day after day, whoa.
Awesome. What a great way to finish. You've shown us all the way today with talent, magic, inspiration. It's been amazing. Dylan Boyd, you have been a wonderful, wonderful guest. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for having me. To yourself and Tian, thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and keep it up. That's great content, and it's great to hear from all these people and hear all the stories and advice and positive vibes and all that kind of stuff. It's fantastic. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
No, you have been wonderful, and so we're just going to plug your show on Wednesday and Superband one more time. So the show on Wednesday can on your Facebook page,
Dylan Boyd Music. That's the Facebook page. So just search that one, and it's Wednesday nights at 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I have to throw that in because it's actually buggered up a few people. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. No, that's good. And Superband, the website,
superband.com.au. We'll and we've also got Superband Music is our Facebook and Instagram. Tag, I guess is that what it's called? A tag? I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, so that's everything that we're doing is usually published pretty quickly there. Tanya takes care of all the beautiful social media things.
Fantastic. Well, you have been an awesome guest. Thanks again. It's been wonderful chatting with you and getting to know you a little bit better. Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Boyd has, well, what's he done for us tonight? He's filled our cup. That's what he has. He's filled our cup with love and positivity. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we are brought to you by the amazing people at Cranbourne Music, and the best radio voice. Stores are open in Limbrook and Elizabeth Street City. You can shop online, click and collect, or get it delivered. Cranbourne Music, filling up cups all over Melbourne. Musical cups, that is. I think I've worked that joke hard tonight.
Really, that's great.
That's what I do. That's what I do. Thank you for watching us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the show again on Thursday night. We are live from the Lockdown Lounge. I am your host, Brian Rolt. I know this because it says so just down there. Hope you've had a great night. Good night.